Welcome back to the Daily Wrap. 3 people, including the gunman, were killed in a shooting last night in Louisiana. 9 others were wounded, and at least one of those victims is currently in the ICU. The 59-year-old gunman opened fire during a showing of the movie Trainwreck. The gunman, John Russell Hauser, has been described as an angry man who was kind of a drifter. His wife had asked for a temporary restraining order against him back in 2008, and the application described a history of mental health issues. It appears he had been denied a gun permit in 2006, and police are still investigating where he got the weapons used in this case. Rick, once again, we're talking about somebody who is mentally ill, wreaking havoc on a community with a gun, and immediately we go to gun control. Don't you think we should start having conversations about mental health issues and how to deal with the mentally ill in our communities?
I actually do, and I have to say, as much as I would love to see some sort of a gun control resolution that might impact on these things, here the system worked. Here he was denied a gun.
Right.
And it didn't stop him from getting a gun. This is the problem. You can't blame a system that says you shouldn't have a gun if there's something wrong with you. It works.
Right.
But you know, the truth is anybody can go out on the street and get a gun. If you're going to go after guns, start by going after those.
Right. Well, and we have to fix the system. I mean, it seems as though not the rules. The rules are in place, but sometimes there's holes in the system.
Isn't this obvious? Right? There are two issues here, right? Mental ill, gun.
Right.
You put them together, you got trouble. Right? Now, he was denied
how do you
gun.
fix it?
He was denied a gun in one jurisdiction, in one state, a number of years ago. Right. In my home state of Louisiana, it's very easy for anity to get a gun.
So you think he probably got it legally?
He probably got it from a big box store. We don't know the details of that yet, but there are essentially no regulations in most of those states, and it's tragic. And we are unwilling as a people to come to grips with what is an obvious reality, because these Second Amendment zealots are so absolutist about it. There is no reasonable common sense. They want people to have assault rifles. They want crazy people to have guns.
You're assuming that he got this gun legally then?
Well, we don't know the details.
Right, but without that assumption, we know he's been turned down. I think that if we start with what you had on your left hand, which is the mental health issues and helping these people, and wasn't he involuntarily committed?
Mental health. There's a lot of wonderful people in our society who are mentally ill. We don't need to torture them.
No, absolutely.
The problem comes when those people are given deadly weapons. That's a very bad combination. You cannot talk about one without the other.
So, Jonathan, what do you do? How do you stop that mentally ill American from getting their hands on a gun?
Well, unfortunately, we do have a mental health problem that is not being addressed again and again and again. It reminds me of South Carolina, where 9 people were killed, and they immediately turned it into an issue about a flag that had nothing to do with the fact that there was this church that had been burnt down. People had been hung there, and it was, for anybody who's a white supremacist, that would have been a target. But there was no security set up. There was no preparation or awareness that something could happen here. So this guy walked in and was able to, this crazy guy who was a white supremacist, carried out a terrorist act, went in there and shot these people. What I think we have to come to terms with is exactly the dilemma that happened in Chattanooga. You train Marines, Navy personnel, soldiers and airmen how to become experts on weapons. They should automatically be given a concealed weapons carry permit, because we don't live in the world that we lived in 15 years ago. We live in a world now that's got the threats everywhere, targets are everywhere, and I would rather see people that are highly trained and responsible enough to carry a weapon to be able to have it out there and eliminate this threat as soon as the guy stands up.
Jonathan, we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but first we want to talk about President Obama. He joined the BBC yesterday to discuss gun control.
If you ask me where has been the one area where I feel that I've been most frustrated and most stymied, it is the fact that the United States of America is the one advanced nation on earth in which we do not have sufficient common sense gun safety laws, even in the face of repeated mass killings.
We started to talk about this a little bit before, but how is it when we have the laws, when it comes to what you brought up, the Charleston killing, he got that gun illegally. It looks as though this gentleman from last night got that gun illegally. How are we going to start passing new laws when we can't even uphold the ones that we have, Rick?
It's not even about that. I mean, it's really about the fact that the two sides of this issue in this country have never, and I see nothing in the near future where they're going to get together. Those who oppose guns refuse to respect the cultural element. that guns represent to a great many of Americans and respect that. And those who deeply support guns just don't seem to want to sit down with those who would like to see something done. Now, and I don't know that it makes a difference.
In this instance, we're not talking about tough issues off at the margin or zealots. We're talking about an obvious, simple thing.
But where's your
crazy
answer?
people having loaded weapons.
But I understand.
Can't
we get it. What can you do about it?
At least can't we agree that we ought to have background checks that ensure that such people don't get weapons, and that when they have them, we act against them.
We do have.
But those things there's so many loopholes in it. Those rules are fought every single step of the way by the anti-gun zealots.
These guns are not being bought through the loopholes.
The vast majority of them are bought legally.
Let me just say this. Let me say this. There was a person very recently going around New York hitting people in the head with hammers. Do you know what stopped that guy? A cop with a gun. Right. Turned around and shot him.
The ticket taper, the kid behind the snack bar at the movie.
If they're qualified
and have
to
shootouts
carry.
Inside the theater.
If they're qualified to carry.
Shootouts in the theater.
The shootout in the theater, the guy's already shooting.
Wouldn't it be better not to have the gun there?
You're never going to do that. The second a gun was invented, it will always be in the hands of bad people.
Well, Jonathan, to your point, we're talking about this theater. They had a no guns allowed rule, and every place that we've seen these things happen, the churches, we see it happen in schools. So where there's concealed carry laws, we see that crime goes down.
We see
but I do believe in gun control. We need to give everybody guns and teach them how to control it.
Well, but we see that's where crime rates fall when that happens. I do think that there's something to be said for that. All right, let us know what you think. Go to newsmaxtv.com/comments. Let us know what you think about right to carry laws, whether or not Ellis is right and we just need more laws for people to follow or not follow. Go to newsmaxtv.com/comments and let us know. Coming up, Donald Trump. Thanks a lot. We'll see you in just a minute.